We're going. How exciting is this? Josie, welcome to the YouTube channel here.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
Good. Today we're going to talk everything about how to get started nutrition coaching right away, the steps you need to take, the things you need to do, the things you have to have set up. In my experience, after training hundreds of coaches, I realized that there's a lot of smart people that have done the learning that don't know what to do next. So today I want to talk about what that is and what those steps are. And I'm joined by Coach Josie, who is a coach in our program, an architect around a lot of the behind the scenes type stuff. So we're just going to chat and talk shop. Yeah.
Architect.
Do you like that?
I'm the architect. I never want to be referred to as anything else.
No, that's all good. Okay, we can roll with that. A few things before we get started today. Enrollment in our program is open. It's going to be open until February 4th. 90-day program gives you everything you need to start and grow your nutrition coaching business. It really is my life's work, and with the support of people like Josie, we take on students. They get great results, and they grow businesses they can be proud of that help people and make money. It's the coolest thing. The one thing though is that this is gonna be the last time we're doing it. After this, we're shutting down the program. It's going away. We're making some changes. Will it show up again in a different capacity? Most likely, but we just can't guarantee when that will be, or how long it'll take for us to do those things. The program itself is amazing, and you should do it. So if this is the thing that you want to do this year, you should definitely do it. So you'll find the link to get more information about that down in the description below.
Sweet.
Yeah. Josie, how do you feel about these changes?
I'm excited. I'm excited to do some architecting behind the scenes for our new thing we're working on. But yeah, if you are thinking about this, maybe you've thought about it before for a long time, or you want to start coaching, I think this is a good opportunity to get involved with us, because it's going to be we're going to offer it at the lowest price than the next product will most likely be. And it's a great product. It's a great time of year to start. I don't know about everybody else, but like the January, February, March, like that's the perfect time to like have some more space to, get this stuff going than some of the busier times that happen. So this is a good time to start anything new, in my opinion, too. So this is a great time. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll talk about the program, I'm sure, today too. So we can answer questions and all that if people have them.
Yeah. I think a lot of times people think about this January rush being like, one of the most things that blow up. I think now is the time to start, because people are, as clients are just as interested in starting in March and April to get ready for summer and other things. I don't know. I do love metrics and I do study this stuff. Some of my busiest months as a coach haven't been January. They've been March and April. So
no, I noticed that too. And I was coaching, honestly, like a lot of times January, I felt like, it was like a middle month, I felt like.
Totally.
And then things would come up in people's lives, like the spring break's coming or something, and people, or, the summer is coming or fall's coming. Now the kids are back at school. There's always a good time to be coaching, to be honest. So
without a doubt,
not like if you don't capitalize on January, you're not going to ever get clients again.
No, completely. I know for a lot of people that aren't in this space, they do feel like, if I miss this, it's too late or anything along those lines. And it really isn't. Now is a great time to get involved.
Yeah, I'd say for coaches or people who want to start a business, this is probably the most beneficial time. And maybe even like the winter. I don't know how, everybody's life shakes out, but I've noticed for me, this is a good time, at least up north, when you can't go outside and do anything fun, to like be on your computer and,
Without a doubt. I don't know, to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of winter in general. I've learned to, obviously, 30 plus years of Canada, I've learned to deal with it and, make the most of it, I should say. But having something to like build and look forward to and push you during those times where maybe it's like not your favorite thing is like, that's what keeps us moving.
Yeah, that's how us people up here in Minnesota, Canada get through.
Without a doubt.
That's just us like talking ourselves into. It's all working.
Yeah. No, completely. What for anyone listening to this, and I'll ask you this, Josie, what are some signs that you should start nutrition coaching or do your own thing, or start your own business. Have you noticed anything like that? I know you've always had like an entrepreneurial bug and doing your own thing and that type of stuff. What makes you feel like, that's the right move for you, or someone would be a good candidate for that? What are some of the things people like experience or go through?
I can tell you for myself, I get like a visceral reaction when I don't like to do something. And when I had to have like, I don't even want to say have a boss, but when I had to be kind of like really confined into a structure, I felt like what I was doing didn't have really any meaning other than providing for someone else's dream and goals or whatever, especially when you think like corporate kind of stuff where it's sometimes you kind of feel like a cog in the machine. I was always like anti that. That could just be my personality too. So I know that when I don't like doing something, I get like a visceral reaction. So for me, that's the sign for me. It's like, I know right away when something isn't for me or is for me. But I would say too, like, it's interesting. We're kind of in a time where I think a lot of people now are noticing this need for like a work-life balance, and they're really valuing flexibility. I think too, because so many people now work from home, and we've kind of been exposed to the fact that like, hey, you can travel and work from your computer and still make a living. You don't necessarily have to show up to an office every single day. And I know a lot of companies and stuff institute those policies where you can work from home. But when you do this nutrition coaching thing or, the owning your own business thing, you really get a lot more flexibility in the rules that you set. And so I think that's, for me, that was a big driver, is like, I know I'll have way more control over my schedule and what I can do, how much money you can make. If you have a normal 9 to 5, it's like, this is your salary. It will bump you up a couple percentages each year and stuff. But when you own your own business, I mean, it's like, do I want to take this year to really make a ton of money? And then next year I just make, I really back off and I can do other things. And I think,
you have a bit of freedom to be able to like, at least decide that for yourself.
Yeah. You can choose to do whatever you want. That's kind of the nice thing, is it's like, I can scale this to be $1 billion business, which we've definitely had students who are like, that's their aim, is like, I want to have be the most successful. I want to have coaches under me. I really want to build this like empire. I have this mission. And then we have people that, and this was more the camp that I kind of fall into personally. It's like, I want to make a comfortable living so that I can do the things I want to do and like, take care of my family, do that, but also enjoy my life. Cause I remember growing up and, my parents had great jobs and stuff, but it was like, okay, we get 1 week out of the year where we can all coordinate to go on one vacation. And like by that,
exactly,
relax during that vacation because they're thinking about going back to work. And, so it's kind of like, I just didn't want to do that. So I think if you're ready for it, and I think too, it's like with what we do with nutrition coaching, it's so, for most coaches, mission-based, and it's you've done this and you can help people. And that's something that really drives you. Like, why wait? Like, if that's something that keeps you up at night and you're probably already helping people at Christmas.
That service-based component is huge, right? Where people are like, oh, maybe it's not about the money for me. It's about like how I can help others and pass along what I've learned and do it in a way that changes lives.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's so many components, and you kind of have to just decide for you whether you feel like you're ready. You're probably never going to feel like you're ready for anything. There's a quote that I love, and it's ready isn't a feeling, it's a decision. You just kind of got to decide, like, and the best part is you don't have to go all in. It's not like you decide you're ready and next thing you know, you're given more than you can handle. Like, it's baby steps, so it's like,
no kidding. I like that quote a lot. Repeat it again.
It's ready isn't a feeling, it's a decision. So you just have to decide, I'm just going to do this. And then it's just like fitness. It's not like the second you say, I'm going to lose weight, you're like teleported into a gym with 500 pounds on your back with like, you just take the baby steps to get there, but you've decided that this is the path you're going to go down, and you just start taking the action. So if you're somebody watching and you're hearing like, yeah, I want more flexibility, or I really like helping people, or this is, even if you're not like want to do this full time, you just want to dip your toes in, it's worth trying it out because you learn so much along the way too. Like I was thinking about this yesterday, Mark. I've spent more on business mentorship than I did on my college, like in terms of money. And even if I didn't do nutrition coaching, like all of this stuff I've learned benefits my life so much in different areas, like the marketing side of things. I was able to then come on board with you guys, and I was able to do the YouTube side. Like all of that stuff I've kind of honed in from running my business. So whether or not like if you dip your toes in nutrition coaching, you learn so much, it's so, yeah, if you've got that entrepreneurial bug, and I think our society is a little better fit now for that. There's so many people doing freelance stuff, and, it's just so much easier now with the internet that I think a lot of people are interested, and if this is a good place for you to start, because it's something you're passionate about and you know a lot about, like you should try it out.
Yeah, I think so. I completely agree. I think about the skills that we like gain along the way and the stuff that we could do. Like all of a sudden, if nutrition coaching just completely disappeared, like what would I do? And it's like, well, I built up all these skills around, I know how to sell things on the internet and package, different offers around how to do this. I know what makes people buy, and I know how to motivate them. And it's like that stuff is transferable to absolutely anything. Now, like nutrition coaching, it isn't going away. If anything, it's growing, and a great time to get involved. But it's like that's the stuff that when you're around like-minded individuals and learning from people that have done it before, like that's the stuff that you can take with you forever.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. And nutrition coaching is so cool because you get to work with, like you mentioned, like even in our program, everybody in the program has a similar goal, and they're like-minded, and they're people who take action and, are trying to achieve the same thing. The mentors in the program have done it before. So you're definitely in a more supportive environment, but you also get to meet such cool people. Like my clients are super interesting, and I learned so much from them. Even Matt, my boyfriend, he's in a service-based industry too. And it's like the relationships he's cultivated just from that, they're just so valuable, and it makes it really rewarding because you just get to meet people who are doing stuff, and that's really fun and motivating. So even though it kind of feels isolating when you're trying to make this decision, especially if nobody I knew was self-employed before I started doing this, and everybody told me like, this is a bad idea. It's gonna be terrible. Did you know that like 80% of businesses fail? And that's terrifying when you're
without a doubt.
But then when you get around people who are doing it, and it's normal, and they have solutions for you, and it's like, hey, that problem, it's not the end of the world. Here's a very simple thing you can do to fix that. You just start to learn stuff. So it's all very achievable. It's just kind of, you just got to start doing it, and then you learn.
Without a doubt. If someone's deciding, hey, okay, I would like to go down this path, I would like to get started. If you think of the first place to start or get this going, like what would you give them in terms of some steps to get started?
Yeah. So I'm going to zoom out and just imagine taking our program away and everything. And if I'm just somebody, first of all, the best resource I think for nutrition coaches to get started and have a high level understanding of the structures you'll need and things like that would be our 3-day challenge. And I say that not to like pump our tires, but just because that's literally, we created that with in mind what somebody would need. It's like, if I could give you a high level simplified version of what we teach, but also like what all the other nutrition coaches are doing out there, that's a great place to start, because we talk about the main things you need to know, which is like the systems. How do you check in with clients? How do you actually structure this and coach people? So I think that's a great place to start, honestly, because it's going to give you, what's tough when you're starting this stuff out is it's just like, if you've never worked with a coach before, you just don't know. And even if you have worked with a coach before, a lot of coaches don't, their products might be great coaches, but their products might not be laid out the best in the online world or whatever. So you don't really know what that's supposed to look like. And we give you a high level overview of what that looks like, and then give you some resources so you can start creating it for yourself. So that's where I would say, if we could simplify everything, like we created that resource, the 3-day challenge is a great place to start. But really, the second,
what do you feel like that, like, what do you think that gives someone in terms of like, what are some of the things that if they don't go down that path, they're not going to have? Like, what are some of the things that are important within that?
That's a really good question. I think, first of all, an overview of what your coaching system should look like. And that's the biggest kind of thing we hear from people that are trying to start this, but they're really confused, is it's like, maybe they've had a certification before. And certifications are great because you learn the knowledge of nutrition, which if you're just starting out and you have no background, you're not a personal trainer or anything like that, you're probably going to need some type of knowledgeable foundation, which we do have in our program too. But it's a lot of times those certs don't tell you, okay, on a week to week, day by day basis, this is how you should run things in the most efficient way for you, but also in the best way for your clients to get results. So I think without something like our 3-day course, it becomes difficult to know what does that look like. And coaches end up, you're either confused and overwhelmed, so you just don't start at all, which is not ideal, or you're unknowingly overcomplicating systems, which might stress your clients out, lead to them having adverse, experiences in your program, or thinking like, this is too much, I can't do this. And we don't want that. You're just going to take the long way around to figure it out.
The thing that's tough about the long way is that, like, I truly believe people can figure it out. Like, I think you could do that on your own. It's just becomes so much less likely. The more time you spend frustrated in figuring it out and not getting wins and not seeing success, the less likely you are to stick with it and do it. It's just the nature of this stuff. So, if I had someone saying like, here's what you need to do, here's what you should do, why wouldn't you take that path? You need to do that.
Yeah, especially it's free. Like, you can use our challenge is totally free. But yeah, there's a quote I heard once. It's like, you can only eat dirt for so long, and I've experienced that in my coaching. It takes a very special person to grit through figuring out on their own. You really can only do it for so long. Like, I remember that was how I did everything for like 4 years. I just did everything on my own. Or I would try to get solutions with like programs that I was trying to save money. So I was like, I'll just take this other certification before I do. Like, I knew there were coaches I wanted to work with that I was just like, that's too expensive. I need to save money. I'm going to just do this thing. And you just do so much work and nothing changes, or it just gets more complicated. And your likelihood of quitting goes up exponentially. So it's helpful to just, another quote. Look at me. I'm like a quote. And
I know. Yeah,
I never do this. I'm not a quoter at all, but today it's happening. But one person told me, he was my parents' financial advisor. And I happened to be in their kitchen when they were meeting with him. And he said, do you want to do it right, or do you want to do it over? And when he said that, I was like, that's like my life. Like, when I was just in the midst of building my business and I was like kind of picking his brain, and he was like, do you want to do it right, or do you want to do it over? And he had a really good analogy. This might be a little off topic, but I'll say it anyway. But he works with a lot of wealthier people who, own businesses and stuff. And he's like, Josie, these people will spend $60,000 for a 3-day training because it's the best, and they know that they won't have to invest in that again. And they know it works. He's like, you gotta invest either your time or your money into figuring something out, That gave me a lot of good perspective when I was building my business. And that's when I started investing more in business education opposed to just science education and getting more certifications and stuff like that. So
yeah, and I think that's what sets us apart is the business side of things. And I love that analogy. I was presented with like a similar thought experiment in the last like couple of weeks, where it's thinking about it this way: would you rather pay too much for something and get exactly what you need, or pay too little and save money and not get anything you need?
Oh my! Well, that's like.
That's what everyone's so afraid about, spending the extra money on something, because
that's like if you go to Shein because you found a designer dupe, or you really like these Lululemon leggings, and then you have to buy 10 Shein leggings for $10 because they keep falling apart or they don't fit right. It's like, you're better off just buying the Lululemon leggings because it's the same price, and you're gonna wear those for I have Lulus that have lasted me like 5 years at this point. I think about that all the time. Yeah. And I mean, that's stuff that's the tough part, because there's this sticker shock of certain things, but a lot of times, unless it's a complete rip, which most things you'd hope are not, there's a reason, there's a lot of time, energy, and investment on the creator's part, or it's just that it's that valuable. So Yeah, it's interesting. That's definitely stuff to consider as you go through, as you're searching for things and weighing out options of what's next for your business and what have you.
I just personally have felt like I definitely been trapped by that line of thinking around, I'll just wait, I won't do it, or I'll save money to do it and all those things. But once I started getting in the habit of just, trusting my intuition and my gut and going with the things that I felt like were going to work, like I never looked back. It was one of those things where I know this is worth it. This does save me time. This is what all these, successful people have been preaching for so long, because it does put you in on a different level.
Well, then you just stop. Then you don't have to invest in so many things. That's the other thing. It was like, once I started working with you, it was like, oh, okay, I can be done for now. Like, I know everything I need to know, and I can just do this for years and years and years. And maybe if I scale to a certain point and I need just a little further direction, I could rehire you as my one-on-one coach or whatever. But it was like, once I took the Dr. Mark method the first time, I was like, oh, this is exactly what I needed. I should have just started here. Why did I do 7 different certifications and 4 other programs when I should have just started here? And that's the other thing. Before I met you, I took, and this might help some people, because I took multiple business mentorships, and they were very helpful, but none of them were nutrition coaching specific. So that's kind of where I found myself lost in that department. It was other online marketers, and I learned so many helpful things that I truly do feel like helped me, even with the YouTube stuff and writing copy and all of that. But when it came to the new, positioning my nutrition coaching, they just didn't have that same connection, because they weren't focused specifically on then providing a nutrition coaching product to other people. It's such a different, it helps to be that industry specific. So it's not like you're just going into a random business coaching program with mindset coaches and, this type of coach and this type of coach. And here's a system, make it your own. It's no, here's how you can coach your clients to get XYZ result. That was the game changer for me personally, was getting all of that.
It's very rare to find someone that's looked for solutions, different things. When you're speaking the same language as someone and they're operating the way that, you want to operate, and they understand your area with business expertise, it's just a different thing entirely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What excites you the most about the program and the students in it right now, and what we're up to?
It's funny you asked me this, because we had a really good call last night. I think the most exciting thing about this
What was good about it?
Well, we had just such a good conversation about with 2 students. They're newer coaches. They haven't coached anybody before, but they both have had their own transformations, but they're kind of still in the midst of their transformations. And so their question was I'm not done. So how can I come online and talk about, my coaching and that I can help them? I'm like, well, first of all, you guys have already one individual has lost 45 pounds, dropped a significant amount of body fat, and she's still going. Another individual's lost, I think they talk in kilos. So I think 50 kilos. I don't know how much. Is that a lot?
It is. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That ain't freedom numbers. So I don't, I'm assuming that's good. But just went through this transformation. They both kind of had some hesitation. Am I qualified to talk about this, even though I'm not done? And I just, it's funny, because I was thinking about it. And I'm like, it's that thing you're afraid of usually about yourself, or that you want to hide about yourself. That's usually the most impactful thing to other people. And I'm like, no, that's super cool. You're so much closer to the process and the feelings and the emotions, and you are experiencing this transformation in real time. Not only is it cool to still be working through the process on social media as a marketing thing, right? Because I'm thinking marketing brain in most of these conversations. But for me or you, if we've gone through transformations, maybe mine was 10 years ago. So I can remember feeling XYZ, but it's been 10 years. So I'm pretty removed from those emotions, right? It's I can kind of remember, oh, I felt like this, or I felt like this, but they're feeling the impact. What they are going to express to people is going to be so much more relatable and so much more powerful to the people watching. And I'm like, that's actually the superpower, and I just got so pumped on this, because I'm like, from a social media perspective, I'm like, you're going to come off with the energy of just like pure motivation, excitement. You want to help people because you feel so jazzed up by this transformation. I just thought that was so cool. And to get back to like, what am I excited about? Like, that's the cool part to me, is seeing, you know, our students who come in with a variety of different goals, you know, and maybe they come from situations where it's like, they're insulated. This is their interest. This is something that they've kind of worked through on their own. Maybe they have a coach or whatever, but you know, people in their personal life haven't really caught on to, you know, this transformation yet or what it means. But now they get a community of people and they get to ask a question like that and, you know, hear a motivating response. And I think it was kind of like we were talking with Coach Meredith, which shout out, it's her birthday today. Happy birthday, Meredith.
Happy birthday, Meredith.
And she was like, I feel like this program or this like round of people too we have, like we're going to see the most personal transformations and stuff too. And that's what's really cool is you see somebody come into the program. Yeah. And yes, they start a business, they get clients, like all that's cool, but they leave feeling so much more empowered in themselves and just more confident in their ability as a coach, but you know, even as like an athlete or just a person and their self-confidence, like it all increases. So for me, that's what I get excited about. On the program technicality side, we've just been launching so many new like features and benefits within the program. We've dialed everything in so well. We've got so many great resources. Like anything a student has a question about, it's like, oh, we've got a resource. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they can go and it's all plug and play so they can copy it, make it their own, use it. You don't have to create your own check-in form. You know, you have everything there that you can use. And then the mentorship side of things, we've just got locked down. Like everybody's getting great answers. They're getting their questions resolved. Problems get resolved really quick if there's any tech problems or anything like that. So I think from the back end side, we've just really locked everything in. So for me, that's cool because I do a lot of that stuff is like on the website and the architecture.
That's right. Yeah, it's cool to see those ideas and thoughts and things that are useful, number one, come to life, but also be used and help others. It's just the best feeling.
Yeah. So we've got it locked. We're locked in this round. 2025 is the year. It
is. What else? I mean, we got some mantras in 2025, but I specifically do. I know you've heard of them and me talking about them. Do you have any for yourself?
Oh my gosh, a mantra?
Like a thing, like a vision,
now
like
I
a feeling?
I'm out of quotes.
Yeah.
The vibe of 2025 is like just go bold. That's like you've said that, like go bold, but I feel that too in my personal life and in like, you know, all of this stuff. It's just like I think go bold and just like for me personally, it's kind of trust my gut too, you know, because usually we all know the solution, but we have like 1,000 things we're scared of. And then that it just takes a longer time to get to where we need to go. It's like usually your gut knows what's up. So that's kind of what I've been focusing on this year. I don't know.
I love it. No, it's perfect. That's exactly. I don't know. That's a mutual feeling. I feel like a lot of people that want to do these things, they have a million reasons not to do them, and a lot of times they're good reasons, but they're not the right reason. And you got to take that risk at times and put yourself out there and take the steps because you never know where it'll end up.
No.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. With that being said, enrollment for our program is open, and we'd love for you to join us for the last time, closing down on February 4th. You'll find down in the description below, especially if you're watching the replay, a link to the application. If you want to get involved right away, that's a great idea because space is limited. If not, we are going to have an open house webinar next week detailing some of the features of the program, what it's all about. You know, when you used to go into a new learning opportunity, like, you know, high school or college, you got to like check things out and see what campus looked like and who was there, and it was essentially a vibe check. We'll do that next week. You can come hear about what the program's all about. So take us up on either of those two opportunities as we wrap up this last program.
Do it. Just come to the open house. If you have questions, just come to the open house. Like,
for your without questions. A doubt.
There's no pressure. Just show up and we'll go over some stuff and you can ask us whatever you want. So
that's the most important thing. I find a lot of times people make decisions based on incorrect information. It's just not that it's like wrong information. It's just not, it doesn't tell you the whole situation around what we do and how we do things, both good or bad. I think a lot of times you might, through those conversations, figure out like, hey, no, this isn't for me. But without having those conversations, you have no idea what it all entails and what it can do and what it's supposed to do. So that's why showing up and asking good questions is always an important thing.
Yeah. And then we can have fun. It'll be fun.
I think that, sure. I mean, I can try out some of my stand-up. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Is that like
that's how you'll pass the vibe check? Is we've got to kind of start our routines.
Yeah,
and then no, just get out. No,
there we go. There we go. Exactly. Okay, well, let's leave her there for today. Successful live stream. We tried out some new technology today. I think it worked great. Thanks for joining me, Coach Josie.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you all for having me. And, I have to say my bangs actually, every time I record a YouTube video, my bangs are like not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then today I was like, I'm getting them today. So I did it. Clock it.
Hashtag feels good, man. Feels good.
The bangs passed the vibe check today. But yes, if you have any questions for us, you can get a hold of me personally on either Instagram. It's just Josie Cordelette, or if you follow the Dr. Mark Method Instagram, you can ask us questions there. But yeah, get on at least the Zoom call, the Zoom webinar. It's the open house if you're interested. And we can see you there and answer any questions you have.
Cool. Thanks, Josie.
Goodbye.
Bye. See ya.